What about this? We talked about mitochondria, but what about the immune system? That's a really interesting sort of side topic here on fasting. And for me, when I hear that, and you've talked about one of your patients, and in fact, she came along and presented at the New Zealand GPs conference, Serona, which was fascinating. But the sort of boosting of immune system or renewal of immune system, is that a thing?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Grant. Look, I think the whole idea of restoring mitochondria function is it's not that novel, but it is novel in a sense that there's not a lot of research as to first of all what is good optimized mitochondria health or function, and then next how do you restore that. So in terms of the mitochondria thing, this is why I advocate fasting. Fasting, it's not just about mitigating damage to mitochondria, it's giving them a few days or a period of time to renew, undergo mitogenesis and mitophagy and other things that allows them to actually renew themselves. Now, when it comes to the immune system and what these metabolic strategies are doing there is some research out there, certainly in animals. I try to stick with human interventional trials; those are the best. But I will use animal data when we don't have enough human stuff. It seems as though fasting can augment immune system function and make a number of the immune cells more efficient at what they do. And maybe keto diet can do that too. We're often relegated to human observational studies where they can only look at correlations, unfortunately, as well, where maybe fasting and keto diets could be perceived as associated with improved immune system function and so on. But the research at the end of the day with regards to fasting, keto, and immunity is it's in its infancy, as it is in defining how what is good mitochondria and what is bad mitochondria function. So it's also new. I'd hesitate to really put too much weight on the data, but I do think at the end of the day that enhancement of immune system function is a big part, or certainly a component of fasting ketogenic diet that could be potentially helpful in cancer and other infectious disorders clearly, and so on. And yes, with the patient you mentioned, I think enhanced immune system function was probably a part of the mechanism.
I've been thinking about it, and I have no real basis for this at all, other than what I was assuming was my basic knowledge in biology, that the autophagy that was being stimulated by the fast, then maybe the body would start to single out old, I don't know, lymphocytes or other immune cells involved in immunity and and recycle those ones, which it might not normally do if it was in a more anabolic state. Do you reckon there's any truth in that, or am I just making that up?
Quite possibly. I mean, we just don't know enough about the mechanisms. Like a lot of people talk about autophagy, which is cell recycling, and mitophagy, which is mitochondria recycling. But to be honest, we don't have that much research going on asking important questions, such as how long do you need to fast, say, for autophagy or mitophagy to be optimal, and what is optimal, and how much does a ketogenic diet induce these mechanisms, if at all, as well. So I think when it comes to mechanism, there are a lot of possibilities, and the one you mentioned is certainly plausible. My approach to these, in turn, from a research perspective, is to find out what works first clinically, and then work backwards as to mechanism. I think that's most important for the patients, and we really suffer from choosing the wrong outcome measures in a lot of trials. For example, what is the most important thing in a condition like Alzheimer's? Well, it's improving cognition, improving function, and quality of life. That's it to the person. What's the most important thing in someone who has a terminal cancer diagnosis? Well, it's survival and quality of life. Those are the most important things. So why measure some obscure biomarker that may or may not be relevant? But that's what most studies do, unfortunately. So we need to choose better outcome measures as part of this whole thing.